Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Steel City Underground podcast. This is the WTF Week 14. My name is Terry Fletcher. Sorry we had a late start this week. We had a lot going on around the league, so let's get started. Well, I can't help myself. After the 20-0 loss for the Jaguars last week against the Titans, things have gotten very ugly in Jacksonville. So I'm sure you've heard the headlines, and these are definitely WTF headlines. Coach Urban Meyer threatened to fire whichever of his assistant coaches leaked that he had called them losers last week. And also, he basically has just lost all confidence in the locker room. So as of this week, he has been let go after 13 games. Not a shocker, but then we also read another WTF headline, and this is from former Jaguars kicker Josh Lambo. He actually told NFL that when he was warming up on the field, he was in a lunge position, left leg forward, right leg back, and he basically said that Coach Meyer came over and kicked him. And he said, "Don't you ever effing kick me again." And Meyer's response was, "I'm the head ball coach. I'll kick you whenever the F I want." Well, you know what? WTF on you. You're now fired and without a job in the NFL. So I thought I'd start off with that one this week because you know what? Nobody needs to be bullied. I don't care what the employer is. So let's keep going. So what happened this weekend? Well, one of the things, the Steelers are still alive with their playoff hopes, even though we are technically in last place in the AFC North, we still have a shot because of who lost. So the Browns beat the Ravens. Obviously, Lamar Jackson went out early to an ankle injury. He has a high ankle sprain in the second quarter. And it'll be interesting to see what happens this week if he actually can come back. So the bye week helped the Cleveland team beat them 24-22. And because of that, now it's just an open field, in my opinion, in the AFC North. So even though it technically took us out of that last 10th spot for the wild card, we are still chasing. And because it's so tight, we have a shot. So here we go. Now, the Seahawks-Texans, you know what? It's amazing to me how you can be 5-7 and everyone just sings your praises when you win a game. And so even though they won, the Seahawks beat the Texans, of course, because the Texans they suck. They're terrible. They beat them 33-13. It's just a little too late in Seattle. You know, there's a good chance that this could be Russell Wilson's final season with the Seahawks from what I'm seeing. But it's crazy to me that anybody just keeps giving them like, oh, he's still the MVP. Come on, people. They don't have a winning record. They don't even have a tying record. So I'm not throwing stones at glass houses here. Now, the Saints, thank you for covering the bet. They beat the Jets in what would be just a really sad game over the Jets. But, I mean, it's the Jets. But the Saints had lost 5 straight. So they're pretty happy, you know, with the return of Alvin Kamara from a knee injury, that he got 120 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And so good for the Saints, but I think everybody just took them to win their bets this week, and they came alive. So we appreciate that. What else happened? Well, I don't know if you saw that amazing throw from Justin Herbert, but it went almost 67 yards in the air against the Giants. The Chargers ended up beating the Giants 37-21. But it's just, you can tell the Giants must be in another rebuild. That's what they call it when they're just losing their butts. But it'd be interesting to see what happens in the Thursday night matchup between the Chargers and Kansas City. That's going to be the test. When you play against really bad teams, everybody thinks you're awesome if you just pull it out and slam them. But it's when you play against teams that are basically in the conversation of winning their division. Now it's going to be interesting to see what they do because these are 2 division rivals. So the Thursday night game, that'll be a definite what the football moment for the Chargers. Everybody expects Kansas City to win. I think I saw it like 82% from the media pundits, but we'll see what happens. There's such a big favor when it comes to the betting line, so we'll see what happens on that one. I really felt bad for the Lions. They lost again against the Broncos. Denver definitely would run the ball early in that game, and it just some opponents can't stop that. So, you know, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, They shredded the Detroit defense for 184 yards and 3 touchdowns. It was just absolutely embarrassing for the Lions, and hopefully they can do something to rebuild, but it just, I feel bad for them. Not for their quarterback, because I think Goff is terrible, but we'll see what happens in that saga over in that part of the woods. The 49ers, this is what helped us as well. They beat and I say us, I always like to refer to them because Steelers are our team, but the 49ers 26-23 over the Bengals in overtime. And they could have won in regular time, but they missed it. We couldn't believe it. With a field goal, it seems like that seems to be always the miss there. But on Sunday, their banner, their receiver, Brandon Ayuk, had a banner rookie season. And on Sunday, he had the game-winning touchdown catch going airborne across the goal line. So it was pretty cool because we needed certain people, certain teams in the AFC North to lose, and we appreciate the 49ers on that one. I don't want to talk about the Packers. I'm just so tired of hearing about just how great Aaron Rodgers is. But I do want to mention something to you Yinzers out there that keep commenting on social media about Aaron Rodgers coming to the Steelers next year. I truly believe he's going to stay in Green Bay. I mean, he's figured out what he was whining about there. They tolerated him through his lying about COVID and his status. He's obviously winning his games now. But think about it. He's only 17 months younger than Ben. That's it. And he said that he wants a long-term contract with big money. The Steelers aren't going to pay for that. Do they want, once Ben retires, if it is in fact this year, do they want to get a vet in there because we obviously wouldn't have a first-round pick on a quarterback? Probably, but it's not going to be somebody who would break the bank and who basically has no respect for the people around him in the managerial capacity, if you will. I just can't see him and Tomlin working together. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see it. And in Canada, no. So he's just a little bit too arrogant for the position, I think, in Pittsburgh. That's just my opinion. And maybe some of you are thinking, what the football is Terry's smoking today. But you have to think about the culture in Pittsburgh, and it's really a hierarchy. You have to have respect for your coach and the people around you and the owners and everything. And even though Aaron Rodgers talks a good game, I don't see it. I just don't see it. So if those of you that do see it, well, good for you. I don't know. But let's take a look at what could happen, with the possibility of Lamar Jackson being out in Baltimore. I mean, that's going to be huge. He's day to day. Don't know what's going to happen there. And with them sitting at 8-5 right now, it definitely could be dicey as we move forward into the last few games of the season. Now, here's what's happening this week, which I just think is just weird. We've had over 100 players test positive for COVID, and it really hit the Washington football team, and it really hit the Cleveland Browns, including Baker Mayfield. So we're going to have really some interesting, very skeletal games out there this week in Week 15, just trying to figure out exactly what's happening and who is going to pull it out with their backup to the backups. Now, the one thing I found interesting in Week 14 was what the Buffalo Bills did in Tampa. This made no sense to me. First of all, you've got a $258 million quarterback that you signed in the offseason, and you also have some pretty expensive running backs, and your run game is pretty decent, but you didn't run the ball. What did you run? An attempt of one time in the first half? All you did was have Josh Allen throw. And so when you don't have a run game, as the Steelers know too, when it's not really effective, you can't get your passing game going. And they didn't. Now, you always get a shot when you have Josh Allen, I believe, but I think Coach Sean McDermott, he is really stuck in the 90s. He punted and kicked field goals, and he just feels like that can get him to the end. But when you're playing Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, you lost 33-27, dude. But it's a long way from trying to get that win, and that's just not going to happen if you really don't get that run game going. So I just think that was a definite what the football game. I was just like, what the heck was going on there? Now, one of the probably most embarrassing games was the Kansas City and the Las Vegas game. So when you're dealing with the Raiders, I mean, I realize they lost their coach and they're dealing with an interim coach, but and they're division rivals, or at least division opponents. But 48-9, oh my gosh. Kansas City absolutely beat down the Raiders. And the Las Vegas Raiders are now 6-7, and they added to the 6-game winning streak for the Chiefs that now have a 9-4 record. But it is just embarrassing out there. So I don't know what they're going to do in the NFL, or what they're going to do in Las Vegas. They just got awarded one of the Super Bowls coming up, and so I just think it's going to be interesting to see how they even try to come back. But I'm just not seeing Derek Carr as this quarterback that's going to get it done for them. Who knows what's going to happen, but I'm not seeing it. So it'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward. Because right now, the Raiders just look like the Raiders of the Lost Ark. They are just not doing anything, not just in their own league, but it's pretty embarrassing. And, Josh Gordon is back. So this is interesting just to see him actually score and get a touchdown. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot he's actually still in the league. So good for him. I mean, you have to see what is he, a fourth chance now? I mean, most of us are 3 strikes and you're out, but not with him. He's able to come back and keep coming back. So it'll be interesting to see if he can stay in the league, but definitely a story to watch anyway, because you just want the underdog there. But here's something in the Panthers game. So, the head coach out there, definitely desperate. Matt Rule is trying to figure out how to open every door that he can. He brought back his quarterback from the past. And so he's really trying to figure out how to get Cam Newton, PJ Walker, everybody, really on the same page to figure things out. But there's a lot of pick sixes going on in that game. And unless he can figure it out, he ended up benching Cam Newton in that game, and that's just really unfortunate. So he actually called him out at the press conference after, saying that when there was a fumble, Newton should have tried to jump on the ball instead of trying to make a play. And you just don't do that, and you keep it in house. You just say that outside of there. I mean, talk about giving the quarterback just an embarrassing, boost of non-confidence. That's really just unfortunate. So it's kind of putting fear into the team. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but I don't like it when they call players out on the end of that. But one of the things that you really have to really appreciate about the Steelers just coming back around is the fact that Ben is who you want in definitely in the fourth quarter. Now, if we could do more no huddle offense, just think of what could happen. I think that we're getting such a slow start starting out the week that it's really tough to basically say at the end, okay, Ben, we're behind the 8 ball. We're down 20 points or more. You got to figure it out. We need a fast start. If we don't get a fast start coming out the gate in week 15, we just have no shot. We need to go at least 3-1 in the stretch. And if we don't do that with the last 4 games, we don't have any shot to make it to the postseason. And that's truly what we need to do. So hopefully we'll take advantage of some teams missing players. Obviously, I'm not saying take advantage of the COVID thing out there. They're going to adjust the protocols apparently. But just making sure that who we have on the field is stepping up. I mean, I'm so sick of the Chase Claypool narrative. He isn't the only person that hasn't been stepping things up. And so let Ben be Ben. Let Ben be Ben, and hopefully we can pull out some wins here. I see him as a coach on the field, directing traffic. He reminds me of what Peyton Manning used to do on the field. And after 18 years, if you don't recognize that as a coach, just letting Ben figure it out and letting him basically say, this is what we're doing. You hear all the players talk about when Ben's got the ball and got the reins and he's doing that no huddle. They're like, there's things we talked about doing. It's not that we practiced it, but it always seems to work. And we always seem to score point after point after point. So I'm hoping leading into week 15 that Ben gets to be Ben. So don't forget this week, everyone. For WTF moments, we have Thursday, Saturday, Sunday football. We have a ton of football coming up. I'm actually going to be driving to Napa for a pre-Christmas little mini vacation with the family, and we'll be listening to it on the radio. So the radio guys get really crazy, and so actually I'm kind of looking forward to that. So everyone, be good, have a great week, and I'll talk to you next week on the SCU podcast, WTF What the Football.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.